So we have inflation. We all know that we have inflation, and it's not just here in America. Inflation in Peru is getting so bad now. The Peruvian authorities have been in a scuffle in the streets. 6 people were reported dead. Then the president came out, put a state of emergency out, placed the capital under curfew. The next morning, he had to backtrack and withdrew the curfew because nobody listened to that curfew. I love this statement. You're going to love this, Stu. His statement to the press is, Peru's not really going through a good moment, end quote. Suboptimal. Suboptimal. Yes. Now 11 people are dead. It is because of high gas prices and high food prices. Everything is hitting the economy. Their inflation now is 9.5%, almost 10% is what they're dealing with. We're at 7.5, but that's only because we calculated in a crafty way. If you calculated it the way we did when we had inflation like this last time during the 1970s and 80s, we would be at about 15% inflation. That's the real number that you're feeling right now, not this 7.9 or 7.5%.
Just still really bad.
Still bad. Yeah. Still very bad. So they're trying to blame the rise in food and gas prices on the Ukrainian war, and that is contributing. But prices were already on the rise before the invasion began, and that's because we're flooding the U.S. dollar all across the world. I mean, Noah, build a frickin' ark. The money wave is coming. In Germany, if you went to the grocery store on Sunday, this just a few days ago, you bought groceries. If you forgot something, you really regretted it if you went to the grocery store on Monday. Because Monday, food prices went up between 20 and 50% on every item. They're freaking out just a little bit. Now, farmers and ranchers have been ringing this bell for a while, but the federal government is not doing anything about the real crisis that is happening with the farms and the ranches. Why? ESG. They're going to cripple them. But in the meantime, if you look at the food commodity price index, it's up with vegetable oil, cereals, dairy, meat, sugar, way above normal and rising. A large chunk of the wheat production comes from Ukraine and Russia. Bizarrely, not us anymore. I don't know when that changed, but it's shameful what we have done. Not only is the wheat production now closing down in Ukraine and Russia, but also fertilizer. Just from inflation and the Ukrainian war, we are now looking at shortages coming in food, fuel, fertilizer, aluminum, and neon. Yes, no more eat signs. Can't make them. Actually, neon is used to make silicon chips. And we use it for
there's no issue
high
with
tech.
that.
No issue with that.
No chip shortage whatsoever.
Yeah. Now, aluminum affects the price of all of your canned goods. China is locking back down again due to another wave of COVID, and it is as serious as it was the last time when everything stopped coming from China. We don't have any idea how bad this is going to get. We are now, listen to this, we are now the largest food importer in the world. We import more food than anyone else. China has more than double our population, yet we double the amount of food that we import.
I mean, they have, almost 4 times our population.
Yeah, but we import double than they do. That should tell you how out of control this country is, how we have just paid attention to all of the wrong things. We aren't making our own medicines anymore. We're not making anything. If the world, nobody's really talking about this. If the world does go bipolar, we now have a unipolar world. The United States and the West pretty much runs everything. You go bipolar like we did with the Cold War, all of that fuel that comes from the Soviet Union, all of the medicine and chips and everything else that comes from China, gone. What does that mean for us? So here's what it means to me. Prepare. And I want to go through some things with you on how to prepare your family. Now, I know that Bloomberg has said, ride the bus, or my favorite was eat beans. I love that one. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least Marie Antoinette said cake. You know what I mean? But let me try to give you some things.
Is he riding the bus to Bermuda?
Yeah,
Do we know that?
Yeah, he
Okay,
is. He's got his house down there.
Yeah.
So let me give you a few things that I have come up with, and also Carol Roth, who's going to be on the program tomorrow, also came up with, and she's been working with people online saying, okay, what are you doing? We have to think like our grandparents, if your grandparents survived the Great Depression. Inflation means your dollar. It's not the price of the goods that is going up. This is so important to understand, and you can learn about it in the Tuttle Twins books. It means that your dollar is worth less. The products aren't worth more. Your dollar is buying. It has buying power that has been lessened. Okay? So when the prices increase, what you can buy decreases in volume. Okay, items that you believe are going to go up in price, and this is in a new article by Carol Roth at theblaze.com. You try to lock in the prices today. This has been something I've been saying: buy two of everything. If you need one, buy two and store the other one, and don't use it. Don't use it. This way, you're not paying the higher price in the future. You're saving money by buying two of everything right now. Also, you might want to talk to goods and services providers to see if they can give you a discount on any bulk purchase or paying in full today. Just make sure that the goods aren't perishable or that you know how to properly store them. For any ongoing services you pre-buy, make sure they're from companies you believe will still be in business when you need to use them. She said Twitter followers responded that they are cutting out grocery stores and going straight to the farmers. This is a fantastic idea. Some are finding friends and families to split a cow for meat, freezing as much as they can to secure better pricing. Others with the ability to care for them are getting chickens for eggs, etc. Many individuals are planting or canning vegetables, dealing directly with local farmers via the farmers market or contacting them directly. And this is helping keep important food prices down. I can't recommend highly enough that you either plant your own food. If you're a farmer, plant your food. If you have space for a garden, plant your own food. If you can't do any of those things, go meet the farmers and talk to them directly because they need your support and you need their food. The other thing is get into a farmer's market. And if you don't have a farmer's market, start one. We need farmers markets in all of our towns. You've got to think locally. One of the Twitter followers of Carol said, in December, I established a local Liberty Urban Homestead Market. It's a group on Facebook. The goal is to set aside some space we have in our urban and suburban homes to grow or raise something to exchange with others. Completely voluntarily, decentralized, and peer-to-peer. This is really a great idea. Anything that you can do that's voluntary, decentralized, and peer-to-peer is great. Bartering is peer-to-peer, and it is always used in tough economic times. Goods, food products, all of it can be bartered. If you have a skill, like you need somebody to tell you a story, I'm there. You know what I mean? I've got skills that are so valuable in things like the Great Depression. Yeah, I can sit and talk or not talk. I could tell stories.
I don't know that you're capable of not talking. I think there's just talking.
All right, well, I can work on the rest of that.
Okay,
I got
great.
no skills. You and I both, we're dead.
Toast.
We starve to death. I've got no skills.
We provide finely marbled meat to cannibals. Is the only thing that we do.
Exactly right. Mm-hmm. Exactly right. If you go the barter route, make sure you're very clear about the expectations of both parties. Having something written down helps avoid problems in the future. Also, note that barter transactions are taxable. Make sure you keep track of the bartering and speak with your accountant for guidance on how to account for all of this and the tax implications. You got to do that. You want to make sure that you're... This brings me to the next thing that I think is one of the toughest. Location. Live near like-minded people. Lots of them. Texas, Florida, mountains, any place, the Amish, any place. I mean, you'd have to wear black, but I bet you could blend in. What, I can't use the blender or the TV or the radio? What? Just put on a black dress, you're fine. I mean, even if you're a man, it'll be fine. They are so woke. Any place where God plays a role, because you are going to need to be around like-minded people who believe in a higher power for good. That's kind of important. If you can't move, fine, most people can't. If you can't move, create a network of people. Find a network and create it. Start your 912 project again, whatever it is, but find a network of people around you that you can contact and you can work together. Don't be alone. By the way, when this hits, where you are is where you will be. I am convinced of that. I could be wrong. But I don't see people buying a lot of gas for trucks and things going across the country. When it happens, that's where you will be. Make sure you think about that right now. Moving is a serious consideration. It is so tough. I mean, I've got kids in school. You have maybe kids in school, family. You've built a life. It's really tough. But at least consider it if you are alone in the area. So let me go with money. The money that you have right now, you are going to lose. Let's put $1,000 in your bank account. You will lose 10% of that every year, just leaving it in the bank account. 10% of that every year for the next 10 years. So what does that leave you with in the end?
It's not good.
It's not good.
I'll tell you that.
It's not good. Mm-hmm. And that is not coming from me. That's coming from Barack Obama's Treasury Secretary. He said that a couple of weeks ago. And he said that's baked in. That's bare minimum. So your money is going to be worth less and less until it's worthless. And then they will change over in the currency. So what do you have as a storehouse to be able to keep your money valued at something? What can you buy that will forever hold its value? Well, that's where gold and silver come in. Some people will say Bitcoin. That's risky. But everything is. But gold and silver, I know, and silver can be used for bartering. Gold can be used for bartering. It's good that way, and it's biblical. I mean, it's been there forever. When the world goes insane and governments go insane, they devalue their money, and everybody returns to gold. So gold. But also, food has great value. Cigarettes have some value. Liquor. I mean, let me just tell you, as an alcoholic, I would have, you have a problem with your neighbor? I would have eaten them if I had to, if you had alcohol and I had none. But I'm not saying play off the desperate alcoholics. What I am saying is...
seems like what you're saying.
Well, it's not that I'm not saying that, but I am saying that it is also medicinal. It is something because
I like that's an alcoholic talking right there. It's medicinal.
If anybody watched 1883 and you saw what they had to do in 1883, I better have a lot of alcohol on my hands. But anyway, so alcohol, cigarettes, sugar, ammunition, guns, seeds, those are all very, very important. Skills are really important. Can you fix an engine? I can't. I can't fix a new engine. No, I don't know anybody that can fix a new engine, but I can't even fix an old engine. Which brings me, buy a truck or a vehicle prior to 1979, something you can learn to fix yourself. And try to have at least 2 weeks, if you can, 30 days of cash on hand. So in other words, whatever you spend, if you can, have it, I think, for a couple of weeks, if you can. It's a lot of money, but try to have whatever it is that you would spend minimal. That way, if there is a banking crisis, which this will go into a bank shutdown like it did in the 1930s, they will do that. And you're going to need to have something on hand. Otherwise, you're like, but George, all my money's in the savings and loan. You're going to need to have some cash. We have not witnessed anything like this before. And so you've got to think out of the box. That's why our grandparents were so afraid, because they didn't think that kind of stuff could happen. And then it happened. And they were pretty prepared for things because they lived, on farms, they canned and everything else. So they weathered that storm, but it freaked them out so much that all the way until my grandparents died, they were still saving every scrap, every can, wrapping paper. They always saved all of it. And they used to say, you don't know how fast it can come. Well, we don't. We don't even think it can come. So stop all excess spending. Stop spending on stupid stuff. And when you do buy things, buy quality. You got to teach your kids, and maybe yourself, don't buy things with holes in it. Okay, because you're going to earn those holes. Those clothes are going to earn holes eventually. Measure twice, cut once. Consider fuel efficient trucks, SUVs, if you can find them. Get off electronics as much as you can. Make paper copies of all of your important documents. Know where the deeds are to anything that you own. Learn to use a map. Teach your kids how to use a map. And then have maps. When it comes to business, if you are, somebody else's employee, be the one employee that no one can fire. Be the Swiss Army knife. Whatever needs to be done, do it. Don't wait for anybody to ask. You see something, do it. Be the American worker that we used to be. If you are in business for yourself, be the product or the service that no one can cancel. Stay in business. Just preserve. Honesty, integrity, and charity it's paramount in business and really in life. No one is going to know who to trust unless you have engaged in honesty, if you have integrity, and you are known as a charitable, kind, helpful person. You're not going to help anybody because nobody's going to listen to anybody. You need to be known as a source of good and light.